Welcome to my channel. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. The Philippines has been ecstatic in recent days with the performance of a Filipino singer and former Tanghalan competitor Sofronio Vasquez won the grand prize in the 26th season of The Voice. Under the guidance of Canadian singer-songwriter Michael Bublé, who has been mentoring him since the season started in September, Sofronio posted on Instagram that dreams truly do come true. In addition to his exceptional talent, Sofronio brought out the fashionista in him by wearing costumes that were as impactful as his performances. The winning appearances of Pinoy Pride Sofronio Vasquez in The Voice of the USA. Every time one of their own shines on the international scene, the Filipino community feels a natural sense of pride. From the breathtaking performances of Filipino artists to the groundbreaking accomplishments in a variety of fields, the world has seen the extraordinary talents that emerge from the Philippines. Sofronio Vasquez, a competitor on The Voice USA, is one name that still evokes feelings of Filipino patriotism. The Filipino singer Sofronio enthralled audiences not only with his incredible vocal abilities but also with his unwavering resolve, dynamic stage presence, and captivating appearance that attracted attention from both competitors and spectators. His demeanor on The Voice USA went beyond simply being about music. It became a representation of Filipino pride in their resilience and the universal love of music. His journey on The Voice USA was filled with moments that symbolized more than just one person's dream for Filipinos. It was a triumph of culture, heart, and spirit. His blind audition was the first moment that would set the tone for his entire run in the competition, and as soon as he opened his mouth, the judges were struck by his rich baritone, which blended perfectly with his passionate delivery. He wasn't just singing, he was telling a story with every note. However, it wasn't just his voice that stood out, it was also his stage presence and appearance. His choice of clothing, a sharp, clean jacket with subtle details, complemented his kind eyes and warm smile. His appearance wasn't particularly ostentatious, but it was definitely elegant, displaying a man who valued the stage and the art of music. Sofronio exemplified the poise and modesty for which the Filipino community has long been known. His style wasn't about attracting attention for its own sake, but rather letting his talent and sincerity shine through. However, what really made his appearance on The Voice USA was his Filipino pride, which made many Filipinos watching from all over the world immediately feel a strong sense of connection, not just with his talent, but also with his authenticity. What stood out was how he incorporated elements of his Filipino heritage into both his demeanor and his performances. Both of the judges in the audience were instantly struck by his charisma, humility, and real kindness. He is a role model for what it means to proudly express one's heritage while adopting a modern, polished image because of his often understated but elegant appearance, which spoke volumes whether he was wearing a fitted suit or a more relaxed ensemble. One of the most potent aspects of his personality was how he made Filipino culture and identity central to his artistic abilities. In one particularly memorable performance, he combined modern pop music with traditional Filipino sounds while singing passionately. His face conveyed the feelings of someone who had an unwavering love for his native land, and his posture, facial expressions, and dedication to every note enthralled audiences. Sofronio's appearance was more than simply the things he wore, it was also the story he told about how he rose from modest origins in the Philippines to become a global celebrity. For years, Sofronio Vasquez's triumph on The Voice USA has been seen as a realization of the Filipino dream. From Broadway stages to Hollywood, from musical theater to the pop scene, Filipinos are known worldwide for their enthusiasm, tenacity, and excellence in the arts. Filipinos have often shown that their ability is as broad as it is extensive, and Sofronio was no exception. Whether in his relaxed, laid-back on-stage moments or during the most intense performances, his outward appearance reflected his inner strength and resilience, and his clothes became a symbol of his journey. He had the skill and determination to succeed in the competitive world of The Voice USA, and his appearance reinforced that drive. While many candidates on The Voice USA have remarkable talents, a young guy from the Philippines burst onto the scene and demonstrated that he has what it required to compete with the best. Sofronio's ability to engage the audience is what really makes him stand out. His innate. Every performance was characterized by charisma and humility, and his wardrobe choices demonstrated that he was never one to hide behind gaudy gimmicks or superfluous decorations, but rather presented himself in the most sincere and modest manner possible, letting his voice and Filipino spirit speak for themselves. This authenticity was evident in both his voice and his physical presence. His unique style, which combined contemporary sophistication with Filipino elegance, represented his balance between being a contender and a proud Filipino. His facial expressions were often calm and serene, radiating warmth and sincerity. Vying for a spot in a global competition, the Filipino community watched with pride, knowing that Sofronio wasn't just chasing a dream, he was living it out loud with grace and pride. For Sofronio, being on The Voice USA was more than just a competition. It was a chance to share a piece of his story with the world, but it was also a chance to show that talent doesn't have boundaries. With every performance, Sofronio continued to break stereotypes about what it means to be a Filipino artist. He wasn't just another contestant, but an ambassador of Filipino culture, carrying the hopes and dreams of his fellow countrymen with every note. As a Filipino, Sofronio embodied many of the qualities that make the Filipino spirit so admirable: perseverance, humility, and an unwavering belief in the power of music for the Filipino audience watching him from all over the world. His triumph was a celebration of Filipino excellence and a reminder that their brilliance may shine just as brightly as anybody else's, not only about personal achievement. The pride that filled Filipino homes as they applauded Sofronio wasn't just for the man with the golden voice. It was pride in their culture, pride in their roots, and pride in knowing that a Filipino had made it to one of the biggest stages in the world. His presence was a testament to the fact that no matter where you come from, your dreams are valid and your heritage is something to be proud of. Sofronio's winning look wasn't limited to his wardrobe choices or hairstyle, or rather, it was about the whole package: the pride in his eyes, the passion in his voice, and the authenticity of his persona. His style wasn't determined by trends or outside pressure, but rather reflected who he was as an individual and an artist who was deeply rooted in his culture and values throughout his journey on The Voice USA. Perhaps the most alluring aspect of Sofronio Vasquez's appearance was the way he carried himself. He walked with the quiet confidence of someone who had not only earned his place on stage but also brought a piece of his home country with him. As a result, his time on The Voice USA was much more than just a personal victory. It was a triumph for the Philippines. Sofronio wore his Filipino heritage like a badge of honor, whether he was dressed in a fitted suit for a live performance or in more casual attire during rehearsals. As Sofronio continues to make waves in the music industry, his story will surely inspire countless others in the Philippines and beyond. He demonstrated to the world that Filipino talent is undeniable through his incredible performances, unwavering authenticity, and ability to connect with audiences worldwide, creating a sense of pride that lasted far beyond his time on the show. Sofronio Vasquez's victory on The Voice USA wasn't just for him, it was for every Filipino who has ever dared to dream, and in that victory, there was no doubt that the Philippines had won too. His winning looks on the show weren't just about his style, they were about his representation of a culture rich in history, passion, and resilience. Throughout his success, the world saw a reflection of the very best of the Filipino people, who are humble, determined, and incredibly talented.